It's Jordan Mulligan from the Mulliganbrothers, and today's interview highlight is with Clint Emerson. This is his biggest lesson that he learned at war. This is my most valuable highlight from Clint, and I'm so excited to share this with you. Today's video was sponsored by Mulliganbrothers.com, where you can buy the hardest work in the room t-shirts and much, much more to help support the Inspire Change movement. But before that, let's jump into this incredible video with Clint Emerson.
Oh, there's a lot of moments. There's a lot of moments where you take those lessons learned and they stick forever. Probably one of them was getting ambushed. We had set up for the night, and this was at the beginning of Iraq, and we were part of the initial push. So we didn't have bases, we didn't have anything. We were literally sleeping underneath our Humvees every night. And it was one night when we weren't actually working, and so we had a moment. We couldn't even remember. I was like, when was the last time we slept, guys? And we're like, I don't know. When was the last time we slept? I was like, maybe we should sleep tonight, right? So we say, hey, you two guys are on watch. Everyone else, go ahead, loosen your gear and get some sleep. And just as everyone loosens their gear and gets some sleep, there's an explosion to our left, and then nothing but volleys of gunfire coming at us. Holy shit, that was the worst timing, right? And so guys' helmets were off, gear was loose, guns were to their sides. So there was a split second of chaos and all that just internally for us. I had taken the first watch, so I still had my helmet and nods. I pull my night vision down, I look, and I see these guys about 50 yards away sitting in these trees, right? But there's still all this other gunfire. And the reason being is we had pulled into a Marine perimeter, right? And it was all of these light armored vehicles with 18-year-olds manning 50 cals, okay? And so they weren't communicating with each other very well, right? So some of them had taken all of this ordnance that they had captured, stuck it in the middle of the perimeter, and decided to light it off, right? So it explodes. Well, the word didn't get out that they were gonna blow up all this demo that they had found. So some of those 18-year-olds on 50 cals decided to start shooting at the explosion, which was, we were kind of literally behind it inside the circle. So our Humvee is literally getting holes shot through it like Swiss cheese by these kids, these Marines on 50 cals. And then at the same time, the explosion, the gunfire caused these 3 Iraqi Fedayeen guys to kind of get up and move, even though they weren't the ones initially shooting at us. And so we see them, they got some shots off, and I'm like, hey, we got we got bad guys in the wire, which is really bad, right? And we're surrounded by the 18-year-olds with 50 cals. So it's the explosion, a SEAL team, and 3 bad guys inside this circle, and what we call a Mexican standoff, right? It's all guns pointed at each other. And anyway, a lot of lessons learned from that, right? Communication is key. Everyone has to be communicating. Everyone has to know what's going on at all times, or you can have that blue on blue situation. The fact that they didn't clear they created a perimeter around an area that they hadn't cleared, right? They didn't know that there was 3 bad guys sitting in the bushes, and they formed a circle around them. And then we pull in, and now we're, literally 50 yards away from bad guys, and we're surrounded by a bunch of kids that weren't communicating very well. So it was a very dangerous situation. But probably part of the highlight reel when I go through to my mind is a point when my buddy, Matt Mills, is off to my right. I remember putting my nods down. I remember looking at him real quick, and he is trying to get his body armor back on, but his elbow, he's a big kid, and his elbow is kind of stuck where the rib strap is connected, right? And so he's trying to push through the shoulder strap and in between the rib strap. And he can. He's like, hey, can you help me get this on? And so in the middle of all this chaos, I run over and I grab his arm and literally pull it through. And we're both laughing, you know, with gunfire and bad guys. And I just remember that moment all the time because we were both laughing about it. We were both Texas kids. And Matt, he ended up, you know, dying in extortion 17 years later. But it's those little split seconds where you're like, yeah, that is exactly what it's all about. You're helping out your buddy in the middle of chaos and you're laughing about it. You know what I mean? Those are the things that stand out the most to me. I think what keeps me, well, first and foremost, when you're in the SEAL teams, you're serving the greater good, right? It's not just for the United States either. It's for the globe. You know, a lot of the operations we conduct are for the greater good of the world we live in and are not specific to U.S. policy, okay? And that feeling of operating for the greater good is something that doesn't go away. So for me, transitioning out, I just created my own greater good, and that is providing, you know, safety, security, and survival skills to both organizations and individuals. So I've done that through Escape the Wolf, my company, which we do crisis management for all kinds of companies, big and small. And then my book series, 100 Deadly Skills, is really the same kind of crisis management skills, but down at, you know, the individual level so that they can have what they need in order to get themselves out of trouble. So that's just been my new kind of mission, and that's the lane I stay in, is crisis management for everyone. I just package it all differently so that it can be learned and executed by different organizations or people that read it or learn it. You know, so that's kind of it. I think you have to create your own mission when you don't have a greater one to work for anymore. I want you to have all the skills, but never have to use any of them, right? It's a good day gone bad when you have to use 100 deadly skills, but every person should certainly know them. And as it relates to like current generations and, you know, that demasculation of the population and these, you know, beta males and all the things I hear about and see on social media, honestly, I just don't get too hung up in it. I hope that through the experience of a pandemic and other wars starting to erupt, that people do wake up and go, okay, I probably need to be a little more self-reliant. I need to rely on myself to get the job done each and every day, whether it's to bring money home to pay the bills, whether it's to just get food for that day, or to protect themselves in a dark alley. I think there's a lot to be learned by what we've all experienced with this pandemic and wars going on to wake people up and make them go, oh, wait a minute, I can't rely on 911, I can't rely on my neighbor, I gotta rely on myself. And so that's really my ultimate goal, is to just make it easy for people to start being more self-reliant.
And there you go. Clint's biggest lesson was a story of triumph over a situation that was maybe impossible for some people to overcome. Such a difficult circumstances and situation. And, you know, in the face of adversity, they kept going. And, you know, it's these kind of stories for me that are so powerful that it creates like a resilient mindset, even hearing these stories. So thank you to Clint. If you want to hear more from Clint, head over to Instagram at Clint Emerson, 100 Deadly Skills, or at Clint Emerson. It will be linked down below. But he has a lot more to share. His new book is out, and that is also linked down below. And if you want to see what I get up to on a day-to-day basis, see me in the gym, see what I get up to behind the scenes, and what the Mulligan brothers get up to behind the scenes as well. It's at Jordan Mulligan Brother for myself, and at Mulligan Brothers. And see what the team gets us up to. But all of this was made possible by your support, so thank you very much. Share this video, help the Inspire Change movement by sharing this video with somebody else who it could inspire. Have a blessed and productive day, and I'll see you in your next one. Peace!